pass to Leitner. Puts it up.
You're listening to the Culture State Podcast.
Get ready. Woo!
Yes, we're back with another great episode of the Culture State Podcast. Of course, you see it is Beard Gang all the way.
Yes.
My man Dennis Cox, he hasn't shaved. I haven't shaved in like 5 days. Look at this. Look at all his hair on my face. Look at all his hair on my face. That's like 5 days of work right there, baby. Another great episode of the Culture State Podcast. Huh?
If I were to shave, I'd look like that in 5 minutes. I just want to point that out. I would look like that in 5 minutes if I were to shave. This is why I just trim the beard. It's just a waste of time and money for me to actually fully shave. Plus,
so we're not really celebrating my beard because I don't have a beard, but we have something else to celebrate. My guy Dennis Cox is the brand new producer of the Adam Gold Show. Let's go, baby! How do you feel, man?
Oh, great. Fantastic. I feel pretty good, man.
To be on a statewide, you're the producer of the statewide syndicated show, the Adam Gold Show, and everybody listens to it. You're the guy that's on the ones and twos. You're coming in with your opinions. You're making everything sounding good. You're making Adam Gold take his show to the next level, and it's right there. Dennis Jamel Cox. How does that make you feel?
It feels good, man. It feels really good. As the lights in here flicker, it feels like it's almost celebrating for me in the studio. The lights just keep popping on and off for some reason. But you know, it is awesome. It's pretty cool because one of the things I like to do with the show is try and add as much North Carolina flavor as I can to the show. So, for example, I'll pick a day where all the bump tracks coming out of commercial breaks will all have some sort of North Carolina-based theme to it. The other day, I did all kind of North Carolina, Americana, bluegrass, country, artists. So I had Steve King and Rangers, Mipso, Town Mountain. So a lot of those bands that originated from here in North Carolina or based here in North Carolina are what I will bump back with, or I'll play Ninth Wonder instrumentals or something from Little Brother. So just kind of add that North Carolina flavor because, again, like you said, it's a statewide show, and we got to celebrate the state of North Carolina when we can.
Absolutely. Proud of you. And, hey, taking Culture State statewide, even if it's going to be on somebody else's show. I think The Undertaker might show up where you're at or something.
It might be, actually. I'm kind of concerned.
Tonight on today's podcast, we have Mr. Nyheim Hines. He is from Wake County, went to Garner High School, right? Ended up going to NC State, playing football there. Now he's with the Indianapolis Colts. You can see him whenever he scores touchdowns, and he's doing his backflips in the end zone. A true North Carolina representer, and he absolutely loves his area. He loves his state of North Carolina, and you will hear that definitely today in this great podcast.
Absolutely. It's pretty interesting because a lot of people criticized him for staying local and go to a local school because they weren't quite up to snuff, I guess some would say, in terms of their program. But he helped build it to where they are today. He helped set the standard and raise the bar. So it's great seeing him play on Sundays. He's come a long way. I'm excited to hear more about this conversation and what he thinks of Indianapolis and all the food that's up there compared to what it was like down here in North Carolina.
And shout outs to Jeff Hardy. Towards the end, we get a Jeff Hardy mention, and you'll see why that is important to him and what he does and how he presents himself on a football field. We'll just kind of leave it at that. You just have to stay tuned after this. All right, welcome to the Culture State Podcast. Nyheim Hines, of course, when you think about somebody who's made it out of the 919, everything he did to get him to the NFL was in the 919, high school, 919, college, 919, made his name, and now he's doing this thing with the Indianapolis Colts. Welcome to the show, my man. How you doing today?
I'm well, man. Thank you guys for having me on.
So first off, let's start with that. Like, just one of those kids where, like, I know a lot of folks are just proud of you for what you've done. Grew up in Garner, decided to go to NC State. And for the area, for NC State fans, for folks who, just love North Carolina, what's it just been like just having that support and that fan club online for every time you do something amazing and do an amazing backflip afterwards? What's that been like for you while you've been with the Colts?
It's been amazing. Like we already talked about, we're both from North Carolina. It's a great state. And really, truthfully, just honored to support this state. And honestly, I'm just thankful for all that North Carolina and Raleigh and Garner have done for me. So really, truthfully speaking, just being from the 919 area and just being online or Twitter, social media, and just seeing all the fans and stuff, it's really just an honor. And I realized, that growing up in Raleigh, I played against a lot of great people. And for whatever reason, I'm one of the guys who are in the NFL, even though, I might not be one of the top 10 best guys I've ever played against on that same field. So I think North Carolina is really just that. They support us no matter where we go. NC State, Garner, they've always followed me. So, no matter what, I always try to make sure I shout out the 919.
Now, speaking of the 919, before we get to college, before we get to where you're on the NFL, one of the biggest rivalries, Chris, you may not know this, Garner, Clayton. How big was that rivalry for you all down here in this area?
Garner and Clayton's been a very, very long rivalry. It supersedes definitely my age, and really, it's really been great. For a long time, it was Coach Smith and Coach Fowler, two great Hall of Fame coaches, and from now on, it's just two great teams, just trying to find and establish our legacy. We're both really, really good teams, and every time they play, it's a great game.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I've been trying to learn a little bit from afar. Haven't been allowed to leave the studio too much, but hopefully I get a chance to soak that in, Garner and Clayton a little bit. Wanted to ask you about this. So let's go back to the time where you're being recruited and everything. NC State comes calling. What makes NC State stand above everyone else? And while you're going to NC State, of course, the rivalry because you've lived in this area with North Carolina. Did you already have like an internal rivalry, or it just didn't matter to you at that point?
Honestly, growing up, I never really liked UNC. I don't know why. They had their players throughout the time I liked, but I always wanted Duke or NC State to beat UNC. So truthfully, I guess I belong at NC State. Growing up in the recruiting process, I remember all the kids and everybody talking about I was going to NC State, and I remember trying to find like a million reasons to get as far away from North Carolina as possible. But, the Lord has blessed me with a twin sister. She ran track, and we decided to go to school together. And somehow it worked out to be NC State because, Lord have mercy, Lord knows I did not choose to go there. I just knew I was going to, like, Clemson, Ohio State, or Florida. But I think my sister and my dad kind of talked me into the whole NC State thing, and it's been the best decision I've made in my life.
What was the most fun that you had at NC State, or what made it fun for you there?
Obviously,
outside of football.
I mean, college within itself is just fun. But I think, truthfully, honestly, just being close to home and, going out to NC State, wearing number 7, playing for NC State, and then seeing a lot of familiar faces. I think that's the coolest thing, just being out there in the field. And, like, there's people who literally watched me since I was at Garner. So it's been so there are some people at NC State who's like their 4th, 5th, 6th year watching me. So I think really that's the coolest thing, just growing up local and seeing a lot of familiar faces, because as you go different places in life, you meet a lot of new faces, but the familiar faces are the one that kind of keep you grounded and keep you humble. So that's what I always try to keep myself in mind and think of.
Real quick. Was there added pressure because you being the local kid and seeing like so many people seeing you for so many years? Was there an added pressure?
No, because honestly, at the time when I decided to go to NC State, nobody had did it. So honestly, I remember when I actually decided to go to NC State, there was a lot of negativity, I guess. I remember people telling me I would not make it from the NFL from there. People saying NC State was bad. 2 years before I got there, they were 3-8. So I think really it was just those things. Just I think when it comes to the whole recruiting process and being a kid from Raleigh and doing it, I think I hopefully created a culture, because I knew when I was getting recruited, I didn't see any kids from North Carolina staying at home. So hopefully I helped a generation of kids when I decided to make that decision.
Okay, so now I need to know, how petty are you, Nyheim? I mean, you just said it. Some people said you can never make it to the NFL from there and all that. Do you remember those? Do you screenshot those people? Do you go back to those people and say, yo, look, I'm doing backflips in the end zone right now? Like, how petty are you?
Not that petty.
When you come back home, whether it's during the off season or if you get a chance, like during a bye week or something, to come back home or anything, are there certain places or certain people that you must see just to be like, my trip home doesn't feel like home unless I do this? What are those things for you?
Obviously, mom, dad, have to see family. But when it comes to me, and I guess North Carolina, it's about the food. I have to go to Bojangles. But I only go to Bojangles, especially when I haven't been there in a while. Especially right now, I'm trying to eat a little bit healthier. So Bojangles is definitely a weekend option. And then actually, really, I love Braza and DNS. And actually, my last favorite place is Amedio's. I'm actually doing a signing there this Saturday with Drake Thomas, Thayer Thomas, and Ben Finley. So definitely one of my favorite places. I used to eat there a lot on Tuesdays and things in college. So those are definitely probably my 4 favorite places.
All right. Have you gotten any arguments with folks who are maybe from that you play with from Florida or Georgia about what's better between Popeyes and Bojangles? Because I know that my friends who I've worked with in media who are from the, more southern places, they're like, Bojangles is trash. Like, no, it's not. It's trash. Tell me about those comments.
You know what? Honestly, at least for the people I talk to, Bojangles is really solidified. I think the real argument that people are really willing to fight over is Zaxby's versus Cane's. And I think that's the argument I've had more than anything. I mean, most people like Bojangles, and I like Popeyes too. I don't think I've ever really compared them though, but they are both really, really good. I think truthfully though, it's really just it's really the Cane's it's really Cane's versus Zaxby's. Like that's the real heated debate right now.
I've never had Cane's before.
Really?
No.
Oh yeah, you just got to go out to the Midwest a little bit.
Okay.
Or Texas.
All right, another Midwest chain. I want to know if you've experienced this before, because there's actually some in North Carolina now. I didn't experience it until I moved to Wisconsin for a hot second. Culver's. Have you had Culver's?
Yes, I actually do like Culver's. There's actually some. I've seen some in Greensboro on the way. So
there's one in Apex.
Wait, there's one in Apex?
Yeah, there's one up in Wake.
He's going today. He's like, wait, what? Wow. Yes, right off of 64.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Is that going towards Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, I'm about to say, Culver's is great. I didn't know if it was Midwest or not, but I promise you in Indianapolis, I live like 2 minutes from one. It's right across the street from the grocery store.
Midwestern chain. It's a huge Midwestern chain, but it's trickled its way down here. So I was wondering if you've experienced it.
The custards are great burgers. I'd like to say, a lot of fast food burgers aren't the best. It's a really, really good fast food burgers. It's really, really good.
What makes North Carolina food, though, since we're on a topic of food, what makes North Carolina food kind of stand above other food? Like, what is, when you're outside of like the actual chains, when you're in Indianapolis trying to find something to eat and you're just like, this just doesn't taste like home, what is the difference?
It's the South. I don't know how to describe it other than that. You just have to understand the South, obviously the sweet tea, barbecue, pulled pork, Jesus, football. I'm not crazy. All those, like us being from the South, each region you grow up in is a little bit different. So, being from the South, I'm very, very, I'm obviously, one of the most, I guess, I don't know the word for it. Definitely have my flamboyant support of the South. Like, I let people know I'm from the South, and I think that's what it is. The sweet tea and just really a lot of the food that other places don't have.
And Jesus, too, yeah.
Yeah, like Jesus, football, and the Bojangles, like, that's what it's supposed to be. Like the tailgate Supremes, like, and the big gallons of sweet tea, like, that's North Carolina and South Carolina.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Sunday. Games. Yeah. It sounds like a Sunday. It's 100% what it sounds like. Now, when you got drafted by Indianapolis, your first time really stepping into the city and living there, what was the biggest culture shock that you had to take in? Because again, you grew up and played college in basically the same spot. So what was the hardest adjustment for you?
I think it was just like that, like the college kid who goes across country. That was like basically me in my freshman year in the NFL. So I think the hardest thing obviously playing football at professional level was hard, but the hardest thing was really just, being somewhere my whole life and then coming to a place with no family or anything. And I think I really had that 18-year-old college experience, except when I was 21 in the NFL. So I think that's really the biggest thing.
I do want to know about this, the year where it was, Phillip Rivers and yourself and you guys had a chance to have that NC State hookup. Were you guys just annoying everybody with all the NC State talk over there, or did you guys just not get a chance to really talk about it too much?
I'm trying to think. Oh, we talked about it enough. I wish Phillip would have been there last year when NC State was had a better year than the year before, but it was great to, see NC State go 8-5, 9-4, I believe. And it was pretty cool to see how involved Phillip still was being gone for so long. I literally watched Phillip play when I was 5 years old, and he's still asking me about the team, like Thayer Thomas, the quarterbacks, and he's really involved in NC State a lot more than I ever thought he would be. And then the coolest thing about him was just being from NC State, being in Raleigh and hearing all those rumors and knowing all those rumors are kind of true, like him being on the field talking junk, not cussing, and he's a legendary gunslinger. I mean, that's how we label 17. So it was an honor to play with him. And it was an honor to play with Jacoby, too. Just two NC State quarterbacks I got to play with. It was really a big honor for me.
Yeah, I've seen for a while, NC State was QBU with all the amount of quarterbacks that are in the NFL.
Hold your thought on that. The one at NC State right now is pretty good, too. Devin Leary throws a good ball.
I was going to say it might be running back you too right now.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to say this. I feel like NC State has not got a lot of love publicly for the running back side. Obviously, you know, we have great quarterbacks and great linemen, but, you know, obviously I think it's just like, you know, them devaluing the running back position. But I do believe in the past decade, we've had nothing but great backs. You can start with Matt Day, Shadrack Thornton, not even after myself, Reggie Gillespie. Bam, every year we run the ball well and we have a superstar running back. And even this year, I don't even know who the guy's going to be yet. Jordan Houston, some other guys are going to step up, but I'm pretty sure NC State is going to have probably 1 or 2 or 3 very good running backs. It seems like Coach Dorn has not missed on any of those.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, just like you, local, which is something pretty impressive to see as well. When you got to the NFL, who were some of the big influences or people that had an impact early on in your career or still have the impact early on in your career?
Oh, yeah. Obviously, like some of my family, mom, dad, sister, had some hard times rookie year, and they really helped me through them. Then I'm still in the Colts. I think some of my biggest influencers was Adam Vinatieri. He was really, really good for me, man. He helped me out a lot. Andrew Luck kind of guided me my rookie year, helped me understand the offense and, you know, made things a lot easier for me. And then probably my 2 best friends on the team, Kenny Moore and Zach. Well, Zach Pascal's not here anymore, but those are probably the 2 other guys that kind of kept me grounded. They was, you know, they're a little bit older than me and, you know, struggling through the ups and downs. It was just good to kind of have some older people on your side who want to see you make it.
All right, so I got to ask you about this. Before I ask you the real question, did you grow up a Carolina Panthers fan?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I grew up a Carolina Panthers fan being from here. I grew up a Patriots fan with my mom being from New York and my dad being from Connecticut. It was like the Giants or the Patriots, you know, in 2000, you know, it was real easy to pick. So,
okay.
Other than when they won the Super Bowl, that was a real tough night for me. My parents didn't speak that whole Super Bowl, especially after the helmet catch. My dad did not talk to my mom for a long time.
Wow. But so the question I wanted to ask you, like 2019, you had an amazing game against the Carolina Panthers. I know like folks like to show out for the home team, and you guys got a chance to go against them in the preseason last year. What was that like? And then was that like one of those moments where you had to sit back and think like, man, like I made it here. Like this is the team that was down the street, 2 hours down the street, but I grew up watching them and now I'm playing against this team.
Oh, man. I mean, you know, honestly, I think with the NFL and especially at that point in my career, the end of 2019, I played probably 30 or 40 games. I wish I would have took it in more just playing the Panthers, you know, being from North Carolina. I really didn't think of much of it. You know how it is, being from North Carolina and all that and being from the Panthers. You know, once you step on that field, we got money to make it. We got family out there to play for and not embarrassed.
Right.
So, honestly, the whole thing is like, the only thing I say about the whole game is like, dang, it really was against the Panthers. Like, of all the teams, it was really like the Panthers. And that's kind of like, dang, it's like, dang, I wish it wasn't them, but I guess it's cool. I definitely would have rather took that performance, you know, against like the Patriots at that time or like an AFC team in the playoffs. But, you know, like you take it when you can get it. And I guess for whatever reason, the Lord wanted me to do that against the Panthers. It's just kind of crazy.
Hey, that game made you some money. So, like, you know, I hate it. I'm a Panthers fan. I hate it that it had to be there, but I was happy at the same time because it was like, okay, well, he's from North Carolina, so it works.
That's what I'll say. I think just especially like that, I actually just looking back at going into year 5, I've had so many like interesting and weird things just for me as a player. Like, you know, like first off, having 5 quarterbacks in 5 years. My first year, I played with Peyton Manning's successor, Andrew Luck. Second year, I played with my college quarterback. Third year, I played with an NC State legend. Fourth year, I played with Carson. Now, fifth year, I'm playing with Michael Vick's successor. So it's been like, you know, crazy. So I think really just throughout all that, I wish I would just took more time to kind of sit back and think about it.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, you brought up like what's that been like for you, and then you said you finally had a chance to speak with Matt Ryan. You know, what do you see out of that, and do you think he can kind of bring some stability to that Indianapolis backfield for the next couple of years?
I think he'll bring stability. I love that guy just from meeting him, you know, a couple of days ago and just things like that and talking to him. I like Matt already. He's a fiery competitor. He's very, very intense. And he's a leader. Actually, the first couple words I said, we were talking, I introduced myself. And he started talking about certain routes. And he was like, yeah, get ready. The ball's coming. So, you know, he's really intense. He's already on it. He's talking to guys. I think we're going to be real, real good and be on the same page this year.
All right, my final question for you. Well, 2-part question. 1, favorite place you played at other than home games? Favorite place you played at in college? Like you loved playing at, whether because it was a big rivalry game, and same with the NFL. Favorite like road games or road places to play at?
Let's see, college. See, in college, I was only like certain places 3 years. I was only there 3 years, so it was like certain places I only got to play once. Like I only played at Clemson once. I only played at Carolina once. I'd probably say those two though. And then actually, Boston College was always a tough game for us too. I'd say those three or Wake. I'd say probably Wake, Boston College, or probably Clemson. Just being in our division, playing there because I didn't get to go to Carolina. And I think in the NFL, where's my favorite place to play? Oh, it was easy. Tennessee. Love playing at Tennessee. Divisional game. It's like with us and them, it's kind of like the NC State Carolina thing. We've had a pretty good feud going on since I've been in the NFL and the AFC South. Every year we kind of got something going on with them. So I love playing there. In Kansas City, great environment.
Nice. Okay. And I do want to ask this, like, just we talked about the thing about running backs and how sometimes the shelf life can be kind of a little short for them, but just in general for an NFL player, it's like what, 3.5 years is the average time. You've made it past that already. The average NFL lifespan. So what does Nyheim Hines do to have a 10+ year career? And how long would you want to play if you could script out your career?
Let's see. What do I want to do for 10 years? First off, to have a 10-year career, first off, I like, I'm probably going to need some friends that are coaches and some friends that are quarterbacks because, I'm probably not going to play on the same team for 10 years. I hope I do, but you never know. So first thing is, have a good relationship with front office and just people anywhere because I never know where I'm going to go. And then secondly, after that, really just taking care of my body. And, I think I've done a great job of that. I was lucky enough to leave school early and come in the NFL early. So, it's my 5th year and I'm only 25. So, I think I would like to play till I'm at least 30 and play 10 years. And, I'm halfway there. So, you take it 1 year at a time, one step at a time, and shoot one OTA practice day at a time. So that's really what I've been doing and just really trying to make it to year 6.
What did you like to do after football? Do you want to become a pro wrestler? Or do you want to do MMA fighting? Like, what is after football for you?
What's after football for me? I would like to be an analyst. I would like to, maybe call play-by-play, but really just be on NFL Network or be on ESPN doing Monday Night Football, talking about what I love.
So I think all three of us need to just be hired by NFL Network. We need to call a few games, give us Thursday night. We'll work our way up to Monday night. We'll just do it like that.
Man, look, our people got to get in touch with them, man. It's time.
For sure.
Fun broadcast. That's all I can say. Really fun broadcast. Because the things that we could bring up, especially all living now in this area,
it would be great. Man. So, even just looking at that, I'm really good friends with Nate Burleson. So hopefully he'll, just seeing guys like him and Randy Moss and Ryan Clark and all those guys, I'd like to do that. I think, if you can't play football and get paid and you don't want to coach, that's the best thing you can do. I don't think coaching's in my future unless I have maybe a son, but I definitely would love to talk football the rest of my life.
All right, as we close this thing out, just for the folks who are about to get drafted, or as this is airing out, folks have already been drafted. What is the number one thing, non-football related piece of advice that you want to give to folks who are newly drafted?
Run your own race. I'll say a couple of things. Run your own race. Because first off, drafted or undrafted, I've seen both guys make it, and I've seen both guys fail. I've even seen undrafted guys get second contracts and make a lot of money. So I think you just have to be happy that your foot is in the door and you making the most of the opportunity. Because in the NFL, honestly, not many people have the exact job they want. I'm sure everybody wants to be a starter. Everybody wants to be the star quarterback, but there's probably about 10, 15 people who really are actually really, really just there where they are with their job. Everybody else is, doing their job and being the best they can. So I think that's the first thing. And I think the second thing after that is just really just getting ready for the long season and mentally locking in, going to college, they've been training. And now, obviously they get drafted and now they're on another team. So they're about to be straight football for a year. So I think really those guys just need to lock in and honestly just figure out who they need to hang around. When you're a rookie in the building, figure out who's doing things the right way. It's okay to copy. That was my first lesson in the NFL for myself. So that's what I was told. They said it's okay to copy as long as it's the right guy. And I think I copied some of the right guys. You can look around the building and see who's doing the right things. I know, especially running routes, I used to copy TY a lot. So
okay,
you find the guys who can help you, and you figure out where you can find your path, and you make the most of it. And after that, you just pray that look, it's from high school to college is what 5%. From college to NFL, it's what 2%.
Yeah.
At that point, when you're in that door, you just got to pray that the Lord's in your favor, because it's either you're gonna make it or you're not gonna make it.
Right.
You just got to put your best foot forward.
Well, coming to an end zone near you, Nyheim Hines backflipping his way there. That's also why I brought up pro wrestling too, because I was just imagining you like doing a backflip off the top rope to somebody or something like that to see if that.
Oh yeah, I definitely started learning because I definitely learned how to flip because of WWE and just so the Swanton bomb and all. I just figured out how to flip and just land it, and that's kind of what started my whole flipping. Where I'm at now, flipping is Jeff Hardy. So the Hardy boys.
So they're from North Carolina. Yep. So now we need to hook it up now. Like, so at some point during our off season, at some point during the off season, we need to get you and Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy in a tag team match against somebody. We can hook it up. I used to be a pro wrestler, so I can try to hook that up for you.
I'm not much of a fangirl, but I think if I met Jeff Hardy, I might scream. I'm not gonna lie. Any person who watches WWE knows how influential he is.
Listen, we understand. Trust me. Like, there's a video of us out right now just doing the whole Hardy Boy dance in the studio. Like, trust me. We know. We've interviewed them for this show too.
Yeah. Really?
Yes.
How are they? Are they cool? They're cool.
Oh yeah. And I used to be a pro wrestler, so I've been on shows with them in North Carolina, and so they're good guys. So. It'll be cool. Maybe one day if you could, do a swanton bomb with Jeff Hardy, that'll be amazing.
I'd be honored. Look, if Jeff Hardy wants me out there, I promise you I'm not gonna mess up.
Sounds good. Well, shoot, flip into an end zone near you, maybe a wrestling ring near you at some point. Nyheim Hines, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Man, thank you guys for having me on. It was a blast.
All right, we want to thank Mr. Nyheim Hines. Also want to thank his agent Ed Wasilowski. Hopefully, I said that correctly. Who helped set that up for us for this wonderful episode of the Culture State Podcast. You know, one of the things about this guy, I love folks who just unapologetically love the state of North Carolina, and he definitely falls in that category. He definitely loves the state of North Carolina a lot. It would be great if at some point he ends up on the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
I would love to see that at some point.
Hey, you could be like Ike Ekwonu, someone who was from North Carolina, played at NC State, and ended up playing for the Carolina Panthers, as Ekwonu was drafted by the Panthers this past weekend.
Yes. Shout outs to him. I also want to say this. Shout outs to the Panthers in general. I think they've done a really good job this offseason in free agency. They did a pretty good job in the draft, I think. I'm not saying this is going to turn them into a playoff team, but besides quarterback, I feel good about everything happening right now with the Panthers. Seriously, as a Panthers fan.
Sure.
You're like, whatever.
We'll go with that. Time will
whatever. I mean, they shored up their offensive line. They got Austin Corbett from the Rams. He was really good. They got Ike Ekwonu. You have another year, Brady Christensen, who's going to just take another step up. Taylor Moton was already doing his thing on the right side of the line. And then they went in free agency, got Bradley Bozeman, who's really good at center. And so, like, hey, man. They also drafted Cade Mays. Hey, we have depth on the line. We have guys that's a little bit better. I'm not saying they're going to be the best line in the NFL, but they were one of the worst. That at least has to move them up to the middle of the pack. And middle of the pack, it will be so much better than what it was last year, okay? I'm happy. You cannot rain on this parade, Mr. Cox. You cannot rain on this parade. I am happy for right now. That may change in September. It may really change in October. I may be super PO'd in November, but right now in May, I'm happy. I am very happy.
Every NFL fan right now. Yeah, we're winning this offseason. Yeah, go us. We're going to get so much better, but Matt Rule's still the head coach. Make sure you check us out on Culture State online, at Culture State Pod, whether that's Twitter or Instagram. Check all the behind-the-scenes stuff. I'll be at all the Canes games. Chris, I think you're going to be at some Canes games too, playoffs. So check some of that stuff out as well. Also, make sure you download and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Check us out as well on WRAL Sports Plus on Wednesday nights. That's right, we're on TV. And you can watch this whole thing on YouTube at 99.9 The Fans YouTube page. So come check us out anywhere. We're all over the place, Chris. We're everywhere.
We are. We'll see you next week. Peace.
The Culture State Podcast, part of the Capital Broadcasting Podcast Network, with new shows coming out every Wednesday. Download and subscribe from wherever you get your podcasts, including the WRAL Sports Fan app.